Hari Om. We'll chant few shlokas which we have seen. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Navamodhyayah. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Idantu te guhyatamam pravakshamyanasuyave jnanam vijnanasahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat rajavidya rajaguhyam पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्म्यं सुसुखं कर्तुमव्ययम् अश्रद्धधानाः पुरुषाः धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्यु संसारवर्त्मनि मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगदव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थः ममात्मा भूतभावनः यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायुः सर्वत्र गोमहान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकाम् कल्पक्षये पुनस्तानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहम् प्रकृतिं स्वामवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतेर्वशात् न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीनवदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु मयाध्यक्षेण प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम् हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विपरिवर्तते। We have We have seen 10 shlokas from the 9th chapter. All of you can hear me clearly? Okay. In this chapter, Bhagavan continues with the topic which he had started in the 7th chapter. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavan reveals his nature. He says that I have this twofold Prakriti, Para and Apara. And with the help of this Para and Apara Prakriti alone, this entire world gets created, is sustained, and again get dissolved into that supreme reality. So before we continue with this topic, a little introduction. See, there are this आवाज ठीक नहीं है मेरे ख्याल से, हाँ ठीक आ रहा है. So little introduction. There are these two factors which one has to one experiences in this world. One is we experience ourselves. क्या हो गया इसमें? लूज हो रहा है. We'll change it, huh? Hari Om. One is we experience our own self very clearly. Every one of us, we have the experience of our own existence. And all of us, we have the experience of the existence of this world. So, I exist and the world exists. One fine morning, I suddenly find I am existing. I am alive. I am born in this world. Before my birth, where was I? I don't know. I don't remember. If I was there, I don't remember. And I see people living for a long time, and then when they die and go away, again there is no communication, no contact. But while we are alive, we are aware of our own existence, and we are aware of the world in front of us. We experience this world with the help of our 5 sense organs, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. With all our senses, we constantly experience this world. We also experience, even if when I close my eyes, I experience something within. So I experience our, what we call our own antakarana. We experience our mind, we experience our buddhi, we experience our chitta, we experience our ahankar. So these are our constant experiences. We have a lot of stored information in our antakarana, our memories, our past, all those experiences which we have are stored there. And in this antakarana, a lot of desires, lot of thoughts, they keep arising. And I constantly try to fulfill those desires. So our life is like constant struggle in fulfilling those desires. And why do I fulfill my desires? Because whenever I fulfill my desires, I feel happy. Therefore, there is the constant struggle to become happy. Till we die, we continue with this struggle. We just want to fulfill our desires and become happy. But exactly who am I? What is my nature? Why I am struggling to fulfill these desires, from where I got all these desires? And what is this world? And who are all these people around? Who are all these other beings? I don't have much idea about all this. See, the science and all other our knowledge tries to fill this gap, but still some gap remains. So what is the role of scriptures here? The scriptures, they try to analyze, they also analyze this whole thing. And the scriptures say that you are struggling to become happy, you are struggling to fulfill your desires, but you should know what is the cause of it, and you should also know how it can be fulfilled completely, how you will get that lasting happiness, lasting peace which you are trying to find in this world. So the scriptures want us to understand who I really am. What is my nature? See, I'm again going back to the introduction, then slowly we will understand the significance of all these chapters. So who am I? That is the big question which is answered in all these scriptures. Ki main kaun hu? Who am I? So when I analyze myself, if I look within and I analyze myself, there are few things which I understand, which I come to know about myself. One thing is, I feel that there is some connection with this body. Somehow I have some connection with the body. And when the body moves, when the body does action, I feel I am doing it. I am walking, I am talking, I am seeing, I am thinking. So I feel that I am a doer. मैं कर्म करने वाला हूँ. I am a doer. That's one of the experience which I get, that I am a doer. Then also, through these senses, through my mind, I keep experiencing, keep knowing things. When I see something, I say, I know this. I hear, I get knowledge about sound. I smell, I get knowledge of smell. I get knowledge of touch. So through these senses, I also keep gaining knowledge. So I come to know that I am the knower. मैं इस जगत को जानने वाला हूँ. I am the knower of this world. Then when I go through various interaction, as I interact with the world, I also experience joys and sorrows within. So I also know that I am an experiencer. So I am a doer, I am a knower, and I am an experiencer. That is my knowledge about myself at present. उसी को संस्कृत में we say karta, jnata, and bhokta. That I am a karta, jnata, bhokta. With the help of the body, I do things. I know a lot of things through my senses, through my mind, and I also experience. So that is what I understand myself to be. But still, there is a lot of doubt whether I exist after the death of this body, after the body is dropped. What happens to me? What exactly is my nature is not known. It is a big question mark. Then there is a question mark about a world which is there in front of me. What exactly is this world? How large is this world? See, even in science, this question is there. They keep on analyzing this world and trying to understand what this world is. How large is this world? What is the exact material? What is the exact nature of this world? What is it made up of? All these questions are there about this world, which I don't know. So there are certain things which I know about the world. What are the things which I know about the world? One thing is that it is constantly changing. When I look at the world, I find that it is constantly changing. Jo kuch bhi, all that I experience, all that I see, hear, taste, touch, constantly undergoes change. That is the very nature of this world. As our Gurudev used to say, that changeless, changing itself is the changeless law of this world. Constant change is the changeless law of this world. Constantly it is changing. Our body also. Last month when we had this yajna, you were 1 month younger. I can say it confidently. So our body also changes. Our mind changes. Everything of this world changes. That is one nature of this world, that it is constantly changing. Then we find that this world is also, there are so many parts in this world. Like our scriptures, they talk about various elements which are there. Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, various types of objects, different beings. So many things are there in this world. So our question is that what exactly is the cause of this world? From where it has come? What is the source of this world? And who am I? These two questions are there. What is my real nature? And what is this nature of this world? Both these questions are answered in our scriptures. Briefly, we will not go into details about it, but as we study, the things get revealed. So about myself, the scriptures, when one investigate into our own self, we come to understand that though I am thinking that I am a doer, I am a knower, I am an enjoyer, I am one who is interacting with the world, but when I come to experience certain things about myself, I find that I have, though I am saying that I am using this body, I am working when the body, but I experience that I have no connection with the body also. Like for example, when we are in sleep, your body is lying down there, body is breathing, but you have no connection with the body. Absolutely, like the body is as though something different only, and I exist without any connection with the body. So, what I think of myself as the knower, as the doer, as the enjoyer, also is with respect to the body. But by myself, who am I? I don't know. Also about the world, whatever I think, whatever I feel, whatever I experience, that also I don't know what it is. The scriptures, they say that the real nature of myself and the real nature of this world is that one tattva called Brahma. The scripture introduced this word Brahma. And what is the nature of this Brahma? Scripture says it is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satyam means it is real, unchanging reality. Jnanam, it is pure knowledge. Anantam, it is infinite. Satyam, Jnanam, and Anantam. And this itself, this Brahma itself, is the cause of this entire world which we see in front of us. See, the world is constantly changing, we see. The cause of this changing phenomena is that unchanging reality. The cause of all that we see as limited is that unlimited reality. The cause of all the inert objects which we see is that pure consciousness or pure knowledge. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma is my own real nature. It is not different from me. That is the ultimate knowledge which is given in our scriptures. So in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan stressed on this individual, whom I consider as doer, as knower, as enjoyer. Bhagavan first taught this individual that assuming that you are a doer, you try to perform your action in such a way that slowly and steadily your mind will become pure and you will be able to recognize who you are. So he gives the knowledge or the path of Karma Yoga, path of Upasana, and path of Dhyana in the first 6 chapters of Gita. The stress is on the individual to find out, to look within and recognize my real nature within. So the stress is on the individual. And from 7th chapter onwards, Bhagavan focuses our attention on the world. So first, try to understand who you are. Then try to understand what this world is. And try to understand your identity with this world. That is the strategy. That is the technique which is used. Start with yourself and go to the very core of yourself and understand who you are. Then start with the world, go to the very source of this world and understand that the source is Brahma. And then understand the identity between this individual and the world and the cause of this world. That is the strategy. So when we listen to this, when we listen to our scriptures saying that you are that Brahma which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, we sometimes doubt it. कैसे कैसे हो सकता है? How can I be Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam? How I can be that pure supreme reality which is of the nature of knowledge and which is infinite? For that, the technique is to analyze our own experiences. We have 3 main experiences. What are the 3 main experiences which we have? Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. These are the 3 experiences which we have about ourselves. Now, hopefully, all of us are in the Jagrat Avastha. In Jagrat Avastha, we experience ourselves. Somebody asks us, who are you? We tell, I am so and so and all. We experience this world also. We give our information about ourselves with respect to our body, with respect to our relatives, with respect to our place, the time when we were born, etc. Suppose you are sitting here and you find it little tiring and all, and then you go to sleep. And in your sleep, you start dreaming. And in your dream, you experience that you are walking on the streets, maybe shopping. So someone asks you, what are you doing in your dream? You will say, I am walking, I am shopping. Just now you were sitting and listening to Pravachan. The very next moment, you say that you are walking. So what is real? Both of these statements are about yourself. I say I am sitting and I am saying I am walking. So which statement is true? Are you really sitting or are you walking? Both seems to be my own experience about myself. Then there is one more experience when I even stop dreaming and I go into what we call deep sleep state. Dreamless sleep. This is also a strange, fantastic experience which all of us we have. Dreamless sleep. In that dreamless sleep, we are unaware of the world. We are unaware of ourselves also. We don't even know whether we exist. We don't even know whether the world exists. If a person is fast asleep, you can leave that person, take him here, there, will not be aware of anything. But when I wake up from that deep sleep, and when I analyze that deep sleep, then I can say few things about it. What are the things which I say about that deep sleep? I say that I was there, but I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But nobody says that one was not there. Every one of us, we have this experience that I existed. I didn't become non-existent. I was there. वो मेरा ही अनुभव. It was my experience. But exactly who was I? How much was I? Where was I? I cannot say anything about it. Do you agree? I can't say anything. Only thing I can say is I was. मैं था. लेकिन कहाँ था, कैसे था, कुछ नहीं. So I was. Only thing I can say about it is Sat. Sanmatra it is called. Tha. That tha is like Sat, Satya, कि मैं था. Then, at that time, I was unaware of the world and unaware of my body, unaware of my mind, intellect. I knew the absence of my body, mind, intellect. When I wake up, I see I didn't have the mind, intellect was not functioning. So I was aware of the presence and absence of I am aware of the presence of the mind now, and I was aware of the absence of my mind that time. That means I am of the nature of awareness. I am of the nature of knowledge. I am of the nature of knowledge. That is called jnanam. To be, that is satyam, and I am of the nature of knowledge, that is jnanam. And when I am in that state, how much was I? Was I limited by anything? I was not limited by anything. I was not limited by my body. I was not limited by my thoughts. I was not limited by any object. So I was unlimited. So that is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. The Lakshanas, the nature of Brahma, which is indicated as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, I can actually see it within myself. अपने अंदर में झांक के देखता हूँ तो उसका at least I can say that yes, what the scriptures are saying seems to be true. Seems to be true. You understand? Are you understanding what I'm saying? So what the scriptures are saying, that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, कि आप ब्रह्म हो और आपके लक्षण क्या है? You are Satyam. Satyam means existing. Jnanam, of the nature of pure knowledge. Knowledge means awareness, consciousness, aware of the presence as well as absence of everything. And Anantam, unlimited. That is what I am. Then again, when we look at this world is experienced as constantly changing. It is experienced as inert, jada, and it is experienced as parichinna, limited. So the cause of this world must be something different from the world. The cause of this world must be something different from this world. So the world is constantly changing, so the cause must be Satyam. World is Jada, so cause must be Jnanam. World is limited, so cause must be Anantam. That Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is called Brahma. So the cause of the world is indicated as Brahma, and my nature is also indicated as Brahma. Through meditation, I have to recognize myself as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So after talking about Karma Yoga, which help us to quieten our mind, after talking about Upasana, which further help us to quieten and purify our mind, in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan spoke about meditation, to dive within and recognize myself, my true identity. Shanay shanay ruparamed buddhya dhriti grihitaya atma sanstam manakritva nakinchadapi chintayet. Slowly and steadily enter, understand yourself, meditate on yourself, and don't allow any other thought to come and interfere. Then from the 7th chapter onwards, Bhagavan is revealing his own nature as that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, but with the help of this world. So in the 7th chapter Bhagavan spoke, he said that I have this twofold Prakriti. See, when Bhagavan is speaking, he is speaking understanding himself as that Brahma. So that Brahma has got this twofold Prakriti, Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. Through this Apara Prakriti, that Brahma alone is appearing like this world, which is made up of these 5 elements, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, which is also made up of the 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, also made up of the Antakaran, Chatushtaya, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. And Bhagavan's Para Prakriti. Through the Para Prakriti, Bhagavan alone appears like all the jivas, all the jiva, all the beings. So through Apara Prakriti, Bhagavan or Brahma alone is appearing like this world, and through his Para Prakriti, that Brahma alone is appearing like all the beings. So after explaining and guiding us on the path of Karma Yoga, then Upasana, then Dhyana, and making us recognize our own inner self, Bhagwan is now presenting us this world and is saying, this world is also my own expression, and this world is not different from me, therefore this world is not really different from you also. So from 7th chapter onwards, Bhagwan is trying to change our vision about this world. World has to be seen as divine. World has to be seen as expression of that supreme reality. And that looking at this world as divine itself is the expression of bhakti. When we say bhakti, we mean that look at this world as divine. Just like we do puja, a stone idol is there, but we invoke the presence of the divinity in that stone idol, and then we do puja. Similarly here, this entire world which we see in front of us is expression of that supreme reality alone, which is the cause of this world. So from that alone, this world has come. So that is being presented. So in this ninth chapter, first in 7th chapter, Bhagwan talked about this twofold Prakriti, and thereafter he says that one who recognizes me, recognizes one's own self as not different from me, even at the time of death, he will be able to understand that I alone am there as Adhyatma, as Adibhuta, as Adiyajna, as Adidaiva, as what you call as Brahma, as Karma, as all the various facets of that supreme reality. In the 8th chapter, Bhagwan spoke about all these terms, he explained it, and he also elaborately spoke about how one can realize that supreme even at the time of death. Bhagwan spoke about how one can chant and take support of his name Om. At the time of death, a person who chants Om and remembers God and lives this body will also be able to attain Him. In case a person fails to do this, does some upasana and dies, will go to some higher loka and again come back. Or one may go even up to Brahma loka, and through the guidance of Brahmaji can attain moksha. So all these various paths were explained in the 8th chapter. But then if a person wants to attain moksha here and now, not waiting for our death, but while living itself, if we want to attain moksha, that can be done by gaining the knowledge here and now, recognizing our own self as Brahma. So that Bhagwan takes up in this chapter. He says that this is the Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. This is the royal knowledge and royal secret. Extremely pure, one can directly experience it, and it is very easy also. Bhagwan says, Susukham kartum avyayam. It is very easy to attain. Thereafter, Bhagwan tells us the relationship. When I say Bhagwan, I am saying that Brahma. He tells his relationship with this world. When I look at this world, Bhagwan says, I pervade this entire world. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. I pervade this entire world. See, the relationship of Bhagwan with the world is the relationship of gold with ornaments, of clay with all the clay pots, etc. What exactly is the relationship between gold and gold ornaments? Let us say if you see a necklace, gold necklace. Can we call that gold or can we call it necklace? We can call it gold also. We can call it necklace also. Both the statements are right. But when we say necklace, there are some people who might look at it with their eyes, they might see the necklace, but they might not recognize the gold behind it. With our eyes, we can see only the form and only the shape. But in order to understand that it is gold, we have to use our buddhi. A dog can see the necklace, a human being also can see a necklace. The dog might not know that it is gold. But a human being can understand it is gold. So one can see the world without understanding its cause. And one can also see the world after understanding its cause. So here Bhagwan is trying to explain, teach us that how to look at this world, keeping in mind the cause of this world. Okay, to give another example, let us say, take the example of various sugar dolls. Just imagine different dolls made up of sugar. Different what you call animals. कोई cat है, dog है, elephant है, buffalo है. So with our eyes, when I see, I can see the different forms. I name it also differently. Okay, this is a cat, this is a dog, this is an elephant. With my eyes, I see difference. But with my eyes closed, if I just take one and taste it, what is the taste? Sweet. If I take buffalo and taste it, that's also sweet. If I take the donkey, I mean the sugar doll, not the real donkey, that's also sweet. In all of them, though the forms are different, shapes are different, all of them are sweet. How do I know? Not with my eyes, but with my tongue. You understand? Similarly, with my eyes, when I look at this world, it appears different. Everyone appears different. Every object appears different. But with my buddhi, which is tuned to the teachings of the scriptures, when I look, I will be able to see with the eyes of the buddhi, that everything is divine. That vision, to get that vision is what we call the vision of bhakti, the vision of a jnani. Like I often quote the chaupai from Ramayana, कि सिय राम मैं सब जग जानी करहु प्रणाम जोरि जुग पानी. In Ramayana, Tulsidas ji does namaskar to everyone, to the saints, to the devatas. He does namaskar to even the bad people. And then he says that I see the presence of Ishvara, presence of Siya Ram in every one of us, in everyone, in all these different beings. So that vision is the vision of a bhakta, the vision of a jnani. So with our eyes closed, when we meditate, we should be able to recognize that Ishvara, Brahma, as the very core of our own self. And with our eyes open, with our antakarana steeped in the knowledge of the scriptures, we should be able to see the presence of the divinity around us. So, till the 6th chapter, Bhagavan taught us how to close our eyes and look within. Now he wants us to open our eyes and look at this world and recognize the divinity everywhere. You understand? Huh. So he says that whole world is pervaded by me, but in my avyakta, maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina, in my unmanifest nature. You will not be able to see with your eyes. You will not be able to see with your ears, but you will be able to understand with your antakarana. You will be able to understand with the vision of knowledge or vision of bhakti. It's both are same. In bhakti language it is said vision of bhakti, vision of knowledge. You will be able to see. So I pervade this whole world, the whole world exists in me, but I am not dependent on the world. See, for example, again taking the same example of sugar. So beautiful elephant is made from sugar and I taste it is sweet. Suppose I break that elephant and taste it. What will be the taste? Sweet. Suppose I only take the tail and taste it, it will be sweet. If I take the leg, it will be sweet. Every part of that elephant is sweet only. With my tongue, I will be able to experience only the sweetness. Whatever happens to the shape might keep on changing, but the taste will remain same. Similarly, the world might constantly change because that is the nature of the world. But the presence of divinity is same in all conditions, at all times, in all objects, in all beings. And that is the vision which we have to acquire. So Bhagavan says that I don't depend on the shape of this world. Even when it changes, I am present. So everything is existing in me. I pervade this whole world. I don't depend on this world. And in me, in my pure nature, the world doesn't exist. When you look at gold as gold, there are no ornaments. So in me, nachamasthani bhutani pashyame yogameshwaram. He gives example of Akash, just like Akash pervades or Akash is infinite, and in the Akash exists this Vayu. In the same way, in me exists this whole world of all beings. They are born in me, they remain in me, and again merges back into me. Just like in the Akash also, sometimes we find suddenly the clouds appearing in space, they exist in space, and again merges back into space. Similarly, this whole world appears in that Supreme Brahma, remains in him, and again merges back into him. Bhagavan says that Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpadau Vishrujamyaham. That through my Prakriti only, through my nature only, all these things have come. So they come from my Prakriti and again goes back into my Prakriti. Again and again and again. Countless, infinite worlds and infinite beings are born in me and again merges back into me. So this whole drama, this whole play is happening constantly. Through my very presence, everything happens. Bhagavan says, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. That in my presence itself, Prakriti, my own Prakriti, create this world, sustains this world, and again the whole world merges back into it. Nachamam tani karmani nivadnanti dhananjaya udasinavad asinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Bhagavan says, these karmas don't bind me because I remain asakta, unattached in all these karmas, totally untouched by all this karma. In my very presence, everything happens. Just like in the very presence of the sun, all the activities on the earth seems to happen. Or in the very presence of a magnet, all the iron filings, sometimes you find it playing. Just yesterday our Guruji was comparing this shloka with our Wi-Fi. See, Wi-Fi you cannot see. You have the instrument, and in the presence of that Wi-Fi, that instrument works. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sachara acharam. The instrument, based on what it is and what type of programs you have, it works. But it works in presence of that Wi-Fi. Suddenly that Wi-Fi goes away, all your instrument cannot do anything. Similarly, in the very presence of Ishvara, his own Prakriti creates this world, sustains the world, and again the whole world goes back. So look at this world as expression of that supreme reality, which is not different from your own self. Another very beautiful example which we can use to contemplate is Akash and the pots which are there in Akash. So, from Akash, Vayu is born. From Vayu, Agni. From Agni, Jala and Prithvi. According to our scriptures, Akash se hi Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi are born. So the Prithvi, that is the clay, from that clay a pot is made. And inside that pot is also Akash. So inside the pot Akash is there, and that pot is also made up of Akash. Now just imagine that Akash inside the pot. That Akash is thinking that, oh, I am confined into this limited area. When it looks at that pot, it imagines that I am confined in this little area. But when that Akash comes to recognize its own nature, it will know that I exist in all the pots. I exist in that clay also. Similarly here, this body is like the pot, and that Atma, that Pratyeka Atma is like that Akash. And Brahma is the Akash which is there pervading everywhere. So Bhagavan says, in my very presence, this whole world gets created, sustained, and then get dissolved. See, I have to go through all this to remind you what we had done last time, and now we will go ahead. The 11th mantra, 11th shloka we will chant. Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantah mama bhuta maheshwaram avajananti mam mudhaha. Bhagavan here says that as he had taken this avatar as Krishna, everyone could not recognize him as Ishvara. See, Bhagwan, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata, abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever there is decline in dharma and rise in adharma, Bhagwan takes avatar. He manifests himself. He appears to be in one particular body, but he is Sakshat, that Ishvara alone. Bhagwan says, Modhaha, foolish people, avajananti mam. They disregard, they don't recognize me. They don't recognize me, manushim tanum ashritam, that I have appeared in this body, but I am actually that Ishvara. They don't recognize me. And therefore they disrespect, disregard, insult me sometimes, not knowing my param bhavam, my supreme nature. Says Krishna also, very few people recognized him as that Ishvara. Param bhavam ajanantaha, not knowing my supreme nature. And what is his supreme nature? Ki mama bhuta maheshwaram, that I am Lord of this entire creation. Not knowing, they sometimes disregard, disrespect me. This is true of Ishvara, and this is true about ourselves also. Ishvara is residing in our own heart as our own self. Bhagwan says that I am Atma, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. I am the self of all beings. I am that supreme reality, existing as your own self. But we don't recognize this. Without recognizing ourselves as that Ishvara, we disrespect ourselves. This shloka can be understood from that standpoint also. One meaning of the shloka is that when Bhagwan takes avatar, many people, foolish people, Bhagwan says, they don't recognize me. वो जानते ही नहीं मेरे को. Not only ordinary people, but even great devtas, they don't recognize. There is a story I must have told you about Shiva and Sati. Shiva Bhagwan. That one Shiva Bhagwan along with Sati had gone to listen to Bhagavad Katha only from one Rishi, Agastya Rishi. एक बार त्रेता जुगमाई शंभु गए कुंभज ऋषि पाई. He went to listen to Ramayana, satsang. Even Bhagwan Lord Shiva, he goes for satsang. So there Sati was also there, but she did not listen properly. She was distracted. She was maybe checking her mails or something. So she was little distracted. And she said, oh, let us go back to Kailash. So Bhagwan said, okay. So as they were going back to Kailash, at that time, in Treta Yuga, Bhagwan had taken avatar as Ram. And he was looking for Sita ji. Sita ji was kidnapped. And he was looking for Sita ji. And he was inquiring there with everyone, Are kisi ne dekha hai? And he used to ask even the birds and animals and the trees also used to ask. He started asking, Ki, have you seen Sita ji? And as Shivji and Sati were passing from that place, Shivji looked there to Ramchandra ji and he did namaskar. He says, Satchidananda Dinesha, my namaskar to you. And Sati ji was surprised. He says, why are you doing namaskar to this ordinary human being? And you are calling him Satchidananda Dinesha and all. He doesn't seem like that. He doesn't seem like Brahma, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. He doesn't even know, he is so ignorant, he doesn't know that where life is. And he seems to be so unhappy. How can he be Ananda Swarup? Bhagavan says, no, he has taken avatar and this is all his leela. So you just do namaskar and without interfering with his thing, you will go. It's like some people, they watch the drama and then they suddenly see their own relative there. अरे ये तो मामा जी लगते हैं. बट यू शुड नॉट इंटरफियर. दूर से ही चुपचाप नमस्कार करो, बैठ जाओ, ड्रामा देखो. You should not interfere. But she did not believe. She said, no, no, how can he be? He is an ordinary person. I want to test him. So Lord Shiva says, no, no, don't do that. But she insisted. He said, okay, test. So she took a form of Sita ji. And Ramchandra ji and Lakshmana were looking for Sita ji, and suddenly she appeared in front of them. And Lakshmana also got confused. क्या बात है? ये तो नहीं था ड्रामा में. सामने एकदम पूरे सीता जी. And Ramchandra ji also saw. So she wanted to know whether they will recognize me and not, and this and that. So when Ramchandra ji saw her, he did namaskar to her. He said, my namaskar to you, O my mother. Where are you roaming around alone in this forest? Where is Lord Shiva? And immediately she could understand that he is not an ordinary human being, but he is Sakshat, that Ishvara. We find that even when Hanumanji goes to Lanka and comes back, all people there, all Rakshasas were very scared, and everyone tried to explain to Ravan also. First, Mandodari tried to tell him that he is not an ordinary person, he is Sakshat, that Brahma, who has taken that avatar. Even Vibhishana told him, but he could not understand. So Bhagwan also says here, ki avajananti mam moodhaha. Foolish people don't understand, don't recognize and disrespect me, consider me when they look at me in a human body. Manushim tanumashritam. Param bhavam ajanantaha. They don't recognize my param bhav. Ki mama bhuta maheshwaram. That I am the bhuta, I am the Ishvara of this entire creation. They don't understand this. Similarly, when we look within, we don't understand that what I consider as this karta, bhokta, jnata, little jiva is sakshat Ishvara only, is sakshat Brahma. We don't recognize this. And we do with disrespect. I am of the nature of happiness, but I go in search of happiness everywhere. I am of the nature of knowledge, but I go looking for knowledge elsewhere. I am of the nature of pure existence, and I express a lot of fear that, oh, I will die, I am born, I will die. So I am disrespecting my own supreme nature. So Bhagavan is expressing his this thing that it is alas. He says that jivas are behaving, moodhas are behaving in this way. More about this we will see tomorrow. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.